The 20. Forgotten cartoons from the 1990s. The 90s gave us some of the most insane, unforgettable cartoons. Heroes battling mutant sharks, ghost-powered superheroes, and even dinosaurs in leather jackets. Some became cult classics, while others faded too soon. Think you remember them all? Stick around. Your favorite forgotten cartoon might just make the list. Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Captain Planet and the Planeteers was more than just a TV show. It was a cultural movement. The iconic chant, Earth, Fire, Wind, Water, Heart, became a rallying cry for viewers, uniting 5 teenagers who possessed unique powers to summon Captain Planet, a blue-skinned superhero committed to saving the planet. Together, they fought against villains like Luton Plunder and Hoggish Greedley, whose environmental destruction plans were always in the works. And now these evil characters were a constant threat, but Captain Planet and the Planeteers would stop them every time, proving the power of unity and responsibility. The show wasn't just about action, though. It carried an important message. It taught kids about the importance of teamwork, environmentalism, and making the world a better place. Despite its strong positive influence, Captain Planet slowly faded from the spotlight. Perhaps the message, though powerful, got drowned out by other shows of the time. The series also boasted celebrity voices like Whoopi Goldberg and LeVar Burton, which helped bring it a larger audience. Do you remember yelling "Go Planet" with your friends? That sense of urgency, the belief that we all have a part to play in protecting our world, it's a message that still resonates today, even if the show isn't as prominent as it once was. Biker mice from Mars. What happens when you mix high-speed motorcycles, alien warriors, and pure rock and roll attitude? You get biker mice from Mars. This 90s classic followed 3 battle-hardened anthropomorphic mice, Throttle, Modo, and Vinny, who escaped their war-torn home planet of Mars and crash-landed on Earth. But they weren't here for a peaceful retirement. Their mission? To take down the vile Plutarchians, an alien race bent on stripping planets of their natural resources. The show had an edge that set it apart. Each character had their own brand of cool. Throttle, the fearless and level-headed leader, always kept his shades on. Modo, the powerhouse with a cybernetic arm, packed serious strength. And Vinny, the reckless daredevil, was always looking for his next thrill. They weren't just heroes, they were rebels, embodying the ultimate 90s anti-hero attitude. Kids ate it up. The fast-paced action, the leather-clad coolness, and of course the toy line made Biker Mice from Mars a hit. Though it may have been overshadowed by similar shows of the time, it still captured a rebellious energy that made it unforgettable. Even today, fans look back on it as one of the most stylish and action-packed cartoons of its era. Denver, the Last Dinosaur. He's your friend, and a whole lot more. If you grew up in the late 80s and early 90s, you probably remember Denver, the Last Dinosaur. This show had a unique twist, mixing prehistoric wonder with modern-day adventure. It all started when a group of California teens stumbled upon a mysterious dinosaur egg, which hatched into Denver, a fun-loving, guitar-playing, skateboarding dinosaur. Instead of rampaging through the city like in traditional monster movies, Denver became their loyal friend, and they made it their mission to keep him safe from prying scientists and greedy opportunists. But Denver, the Last Dinosaur, was more than just a wacky adventure. At its core, it was about friendship, acceptance, and standing up for what's right. Denver wasn't just a giant reptile. He was a symbol of loyalty, kindness, and embracing differences. The show balanced humor, action, and heartwarming moments, making it a favorite among kids. Though it didn't have a long run, Denver left his mark. His upbeat theme song, his unforgettable antics, and the show's feel-good message kept him alive in the hearts of fans. He remains a nostalgic reminder of a time when dinosaurs weren't just ancient creatures, they were best friends. Double Dragon. When video games dominated the 90s, Double Dragon stood among the greats. The arcade classic was already a hit, but the animated series took things further, expanding the story of twin brothers Billy and Jimmy Lee. These martial arts masters weren't just street fighters. They were warriors destined to wield the mystical power of the dragon. Their mission? To defend the world against the sinister Shadow Warriors, led by the menacing Shadow Master. What made Double Dragon stand out was its high-energy action. Each episode delivered intense martial arts battles, electrifying energy blasts, and dramatic showdowns that kept kids on the edge of their seats. But it wasn't just about fighting. Along the way, the brothers encountered a cast of unforgettable allies and ruthless villains, each adding depth to the show's world. Despite its short run, the cartoon helped cement Double Dragon as more than just a game. It became a full-fledged franchise. The series may not have lasted as long as some of its animated rivals, but for fans, it captured the spirit of martial arts heroism and brought the arcade experience to life in a way that still sparks nostalgia today. SWAT Kats. When it comes to fearless duos, few can match the raw energy of SWAT Kats, the Radical Squadron. This high-octane series took crime fighting to new heights, literally. It followed Chance T-Bone Furlong and Jake Razor Clausen, two ex-enforcers turned vigilante pilots. After being unfairly discharged, they built a secret hangar beneath a junkyard, souped up the powerful TurboCat jet, and took it upon themselves to protect Megacat City from an endless wave of threats. What made SWAT Kats special was its bold, gritty tone and top-notch animation. The TurboCat wasn't just a jet, it was a fully loaded, high-tech war machine, complete with an arsenal of specialized missiles and gadgets. And it needed every bit of firepower to take on Megacat City's rogue gallery of villains, from the sinister Dr. Viper to the time-warping Pastmaster. Every episode was a roller coaster of high-speed dogfights, explosive action, and sharp banter between T-Bone and Razor. Despite its success, SWAT Kats met an early end due to budget cuts, leaving fans craving more. But even today, its blend of action, humor, and pure 90s attitude keeps it legendary. SWAT Kats wasn't just another cartoon, it was an adrenaline-fueled masterpiece. Who was your favorite hero from the wildest cartoons of the 90s? Darkwing Duck, Freakazoid, Johnny Bravo, The Tick, Other. Please leave your answer in the comments below. Mummies Alive. How do you make mummies cool? Simple. Give them superpowers and throw them into a modern-day battle between good and evil. Mummies Alive took ancient Egyptian mythology and infused it with high-energy action and adventure. The series followed 4 resurrected guardians, Jackal, Wrath, Armin, and Nefertina, sworn to protect Presley Carnavan, a seemingly ordinary kid who just happened to be the reincarnation of Pharaoh Rapses. But standing in their way was the evil sorcerer Scarab, who sought to steal Presley's life force to achieve immortality. What made Mummies Alive? Special was its creative premise and distinct characters. Each mummy had their own unique personality, armor, and abilities. Jackal, the noble leader with falcon-based powers. Wrath, the brains of the group with mastery over magic. Armin, the towering brute with unmatched strength. And Nefertina, the agile warrior who defied expectations as the team's lone female fighter. Their mix of ancient wisdom and modern confusion led to plenty of humor, balancing out the intense action. Though it only lasted 1 season, Mummies Alive made a lasting impression. Its fusion of mythology, adventure, and superhero-style transformations gave it a unique identity, ensuring that fans still remember it as one of the most underrated gems of the 90s. Street sharks. Jawsome. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably remember Street Sharks, one of the most over-the-top, action-packed cartoons of the decade. The show followed four brothers, John, Ripster, Jab, and Big Slamu, who were transformed into half-man, half-shark mutants thanks to the twisted experiments of the villainous Dr. Paradigm. Now, as the Street Sharks, they used their brute strength, razor-sharp teeth, and unstoppable attitude to fight crime and take down Paradigm's evil creations. What made Street Sharks stand out was its sheer absurdity and over-the-top action. These weren't just any crime fighters. They could burrow through solid pavement, bite through steel, and take on monstrous foes with pure, unrelenting force. Each brother had a distinct personality. Ripster was the strategic leader, Jab was the wisecracking street brawler, Big Slamu brought the muscle, and Streaks had a need for speed. And let's not forget the toys. Massive action figures with chomping jaws that every kid wanted. While some dismissed Street Sharks as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles knockoff, it had a style of its own. With its humor, larger-than-life characters, and outrageous catchphrases, it carved out its own space in 90s pop culture. Even today, it remains a cult favorite among fans of extreme, in-your-face action. The Bots Master. What if your best friends were battle-ready robots? The Bots Master was a hidden gem of 90s animation, blending action, humor, and futuristic tech in a way few shows dared. The story followed Ziv ZZ Zoolander, a genius teenage inventor who created the 3A bots, advanced, highly skilled robots designed to help humanity. But when the corrupt Robotic Megafact Corporation, RM Corp, turned against him, ZZ and his team of bots had to fight back against the sinister Dr. Hiss and his army of mechanical enforcers. What made the Bots Master stand out was its mix of fast-paced action and sharp humor. Each bot had a distinct personality, from the tough and protective Jammerhead to the witty and resourceful Blitzy. The villains were delightfully over the top, making every battle as fun as it was intense. But the show's biggest hook? 3D action sequences. Certain scenes were designed to pop using special 3D glasses that came with the toys, giving kids an extra reason to tune in. Despite its ambitious storytelling and innovative visuals, The Bots Master lasted only one season, likely due to high production costs. But for those who watched, it remains a bold and underrated entry in 90s sci-fi animation. The Adventures of T-Rex. What happens when you mix dinosaurs, gangsters, and superhero action? You get The Adventures of T-Rex, one of the most unique animated series of the early 90s. This show followed 5 dinosaur brothers, Bernie, Bruno, Bubba, Buck, and Bugsy, who lived a double life. By day, they ran the hottest nightclub in Rep City, dazzling audiences with their musical performances. But by night, they transformed into masked crime fighters, using their martial arts skills and high-tech gadgets to battle the criminal underworld led by the ruthless Big Boss Graves. What made The Adventures of T-Rex stand out was its unusual blend of genres. It combined classic gangster drama with superhero action, all wrapped in a world populated entirely by anthropomorphic dinosaurs. The animation had a sleek, noir-inspired aesthetic, and the character designs gave each T-Rex brother a distinct personality. While the show had plenty of slapstick humor, it also delivered stylish action sequences and an engaging, crime-filled storyline. Despite its originality, The Adventures of T-Rex only lasted one season. However, its mix of prehistoric absurdity, stylish animation, and crime-fighting dinosaurs left a lasting impression on those who tuned in. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. What happens when you mix roaring dinosaurs with roaring engines? Cadillacs and Dinosaurs delivered a unique blend of post-apocalyptic adventure, classic car culture, and environmental themes, making it one of the most distinctive cartoons of the 90s. Based on the Xenozoic Tales comics, the show followed Jack Tenrec, a brilliant mechanic and eco-warrior, as he navigated a world where nature had reclaimed the planet and dinosaurs roamed alongside humanity. With his sleek Cadillac and his fearless partner, Hannah Dundee, Jack defended civilization against poachers, warlords, and those who threatened the fragile balance between man and beast. What set Cadillacs and Dinosaurs apart was its fusion of old-school cool with futuristic survival. Jack wasn't just a hero. He was a gearhead with a code, a mechanic who believed in respecting both technology and nature. The show's themes of environmental responsibility and conservation added depth, making it more than just an action-packed spectacle. Despite its striking premise, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs struggled to find a mainstream audience. Its more mature storytelling and darker themes may have appealed more to older viewers, making it harder to connect with younger Saturday morning crowds. For those who remember it, the show remains an unforgettable piece of 90s animation history. Which 90s cartoon had the best theme song? Drop your favorite in the comments. The Pirates of Dark Water. A world drowning in darkness. A prince destined to save it. The Pirates of Dark Water took audiences on an epic high seas journey unlike anything else in 90s animation. Set in the mysterious world of Mir, the story followed Ren, a young prince who discovered his royal heritage and his duty to stop the creeping corruption of Dark Water. To do so, he had to find the 13 Treasures of Rule, powerful artifacts capable of restoring balance. But the treacherous pirate Lord Bloth would stop at nothing to seize them first. With a ragtag crew, including the fierce warrior Tula, the gruff but loyal Ios, and the mischievous monkey bird Niddler, Ren faced sea monsters, deadly villains, and the ever-present threat of dark water. What set the show apart was its richly detailed world-building, cinematic animation, and a serialized format rarely seen in Saturday morning cartoons. Every episode felt like a chapter in an unfolding saga, drawing viewers deeper into the lore of Mir. Despite its ambitious storytelling and devoted fan base, the Pirates of Dark Water was cut short before Ren could complete his quest. Its legacy endures as one of the most unique and immersive animated adventures of its time. ReBoot. The dawn of CGI television began with ReBoot. Premiering in 1994, it wasn't just another Saturday morning cartoon. It was a revolution. As the first fully computer-generated TV series, ReBoot transported audiences into Mainframe, a digital city inside a computer. At its core was Bob, a guardian whose mission was to protect Mainframe from cyber threats, including the sinister virus Megabyte and his chaotic sister, Hexadecimal. With the help of Dot Matrix, her younger brother Enzo, and the loyal cyberdog Frisket, Bob battled incoming user games, rogue programs, and the ever-present dangers lurking within the system. What made ReBoot truly special wasn't just its pioneering animation, but its clever writing. The show balanced humor, action, and pop culture references that made it feel fresh and engaging. Yet, as it progressed, ReBoot took a bold turn, embracing darker themes of loss, war, and sacrifice. Unlike many episodic 90s cartoons, ReBoot adopted serialized storytelling, keeping fans invested in its evolving narrative. Though early CGI had its limitations, ReBoot paved the way for future animated series, proving that computer-generated storytelling had a place in television. Skeleton Warriors. If you craved dark fantasy with a heavy metal edge, Skeleton Warriors was the ultimate Saturday morning thrill. Premiering in 1994, this animated series brought gothic aesthetics, epic battles, and an intense struggle between good and evil. At its heart, was the battle for the powerful Lightstar crystal, which split into two halves, one empowering the noble Legion of Light, the other corrupting Baron Dark and his skeletal minions. Prince Lightstar, along with his sister Talon and their brother Grimskull, wielded the crystal's light to protect humanity. But the stakes were high. Their foes, the skeleton warriors, were more than just enemies. They were undead nightmares, commanded by the ruthless Baron Dark, who could turn others into skeletal abominations. Visually, Skeleton Warriors was unforgettable. Its gothic art style, shadowy landscapes, and eerie character designs gave it a uniquely menacing tone, setting it apart from other 90s cartoons. Adding to the hype was a toy line featuring glow-in-the-dark action figures that made Baron Dark's army even more sinister. Despite its ambitious world-building and bold premise, Skeleton Warriors lasted just one season. But for those who witnessed its dark fantasy unfold, the legend of the Lightstar Crystal still burns bright. Extreme Ghostbusters. When it comes to reinvigorating a beloved franchise, Extreme Ghostbusters set the gold standard. Premiering in 1997, this animated sequel to the real Ghostbusters introduced a new generation of paranormal investigators while maintaining the heart of the original. Set years after the Ghostbusters had disbanded, Egon Spengler remained at the old firehouse, studying supernatural activity and teaching at a local university. When a new ghost outbreak threatened New York City, he was forced to recruit fresh faces, 4 of his students, to carry on the ghost-busting legacy. Each new recruit brought a distinct personality and skill set. Kylie Griffin, the goth and paranormal expert, emerged as the de facto leader. Eduardo Rivera, the sarcastic slacker, was reluctant, but ultimately proved himself. Garrett Miller, a thrill-seeker and wheelchair user, never backed down from danger. Roland Jackson, the tech genius, ensured their gear was always in top shape. Together, they battled a new wave of terrifying spirits, which were darker and more monstrous than ever before. What set Extreme Ghostbusters apart was its maturity. The series delved into themes of fear, loss, and self-doubt, while delivering high-stakes action and eerie supernatural encounters. Though short-lived, it remains one of the most underrated revivals in animation history. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. What happens when tomatoes develop intelligence, grow fangs, and decide to take over the world? You get Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, a delightfully absurd animated series based on the cult classic horror comedy films. Premiering in 1990, the show took the ridiculous premise of the movies and transformed it into a surprisingly fun and engaging Saturday morning cartoon. The story followed Chad Finletter, a young hero determined to stop the evil doctor, Putrid T. Gangrene, a mad scientist obsessed with using mutant tomatoes to conquer the world. With the help of his friends, Tara Boomday, a tomato-turned-human, and the bumbling but well-meaning Wilbur Finletter, Chad found himself in a series of wacky, action-packed adventures. The villainous tomatoes weren't just mindless monsters. They had distinct personalities, from the menacing Zoltan to the dim-witted Ketchuk. What made Attack of the Killer Tomatoes special was its self-aware humor. The show often broke the fourth wall, poking fun at itself and other cartoons. It thrived on absurdity, embracing its over-the-top premise with clever writing and slapstick comedy. Though it only lasted 2 seasons, its unique mix of parody, action, and comedy cemented its place as one of the strangest yet most memorable cartoons of the early 90s. Which of these forgotten 90s cartoons was your favorite, and why? Freakazoid. What happens when a tech-savvy teenager gets sucked into cyberspace and emerges with superpowers? You get Freakazoid, one of the wildest and most unpredictable cartoons of the 90s. The show followed Dexter Douglas, an ordinary computer geek who accidentally activated a mysterious code, transforming him into Freakazoid, a manic blue-skinned superhero with boundless energy and a knack for absurd humor. With super speed, agility, and a complete disregard for logic, Freakazoid battled eccentric villains like the diabolical Loeb, the bumbling cave guy, and the ever-frightening Candlejack. But Freakazoid was far from a traditional superhero show. It thrived on chaos, breaking the fourth wall, spoofing pop culture, and throwing in surreal gags at every turn. The humor ranged from slapstick to razor-sharp wit, making it just as enjoyable for adults as it was for kids. Alongside memorable allies like the deadpan sergeant, Cosgrove, and the wise mentor Roddy McStew, Freakazoid's adventures were as unpredictable as they were hilarious. Despite lasting only 2 seasons, Freakazoid developed a cult following thanks to its fast-paced comedy and unique approach to superhero storytelling. To this day, it remains a beloved gem of 90s animation. The Tick. With its absurd humor and larger-than-life characters, The Tick was the ultimate superhero parody. Premiering in 1994, this cult classic followed the adventures of The Tick, a well-meaning but clueless superhero with super strength, near invulnerability, and a complete lack of common sense. Donning his signature blue suit and antennae, he patrolled the city, battling bizarre villains like the monocle-wearing, chair-faced Chippendale, the nefarious El Cid, and the hilariously literal man-eating cow. At his side was Arthur, his reluctant sidekick, a former accountant in a moth costume, who often played the straight man to the Tick's over-the-top antics. Together, they navigated a world filled with equally eccentric heroes, including the vain Die Fledermaus, the sewer-dwelling but timid sewer urchin, and the patriotic American maid. What made The Tick special was its brilliant satire of superhero tropes. Instead of dark, brooding heroes, it delivered ridiculous one-liners, exaggerated heroism, and surreal comedy. Though the animated series was canceled too soon, it developed a devoted fan base, leading to multiple revivals, including a live-action version. Decades later, The Tick remains a beloved gem, proving that superheroes can be both mighty and ridiculously funny. Big Bad Beetleborgs. What if you could step into the pages of your favorite comic book and become a superhero? Big Bad Beetleborgs brought that fantasy to life, blending action, comedy, and supernatural fun. The story followed 3 kids, Drew, Joe, and Roland, who stumbled upon a spooky mansion and accidentally freed Flabber, a wacky, Elvis-inspired ghost. In gratitude, Flabber granted their wish to become their favorite comic book heroes, the Beetleborgs. But their excitement was short-lived when the villains from the same comic, led by the sinister Vexor, also came to life. The show thrived on its mix of over-the-top action and goofy humor. Flabber and his monstrous housemates, classic horror-inspired characters like a vampire, a mummy, and a werewolf, provided endless comedic antics. Meanwhile, the Beetleborgs themselves sported sleek metallic suits, high-tech weapons, and impressive vehicles that made every battle thrilling. Though often compared to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Big Bad Beetleborgs had a unique charm. It combined superhero action with a haunted house setting, giving it a quirky, family-friendly twist. While it only ran for 2 seasons, its blend of campy humor, supernatural elements, and comic book adventure made it a nostalgic favorite for 90s kids. Earthworm Jim. An earthworm in a high-tech supersuit fighting intergalactic villains? Only the 90s could produce something as bizarre and brilliant as Earthworm Jim. Based on the hit video game, this animated series took the game's absurd concept and expanded it into a full-fledged cartoon packed with action, comedy, and some of the weirdest characters ever created. The story followed Jim, an ordinary earthworm who stumbled upon an ultra-advanced power suit that transformed him into an unlikely superhero. With his loyal and highly unlucky sidekick, Peter Puppy, Jim embarked on surreal adventures, protecting the universe and attempting to win the affection of Princess What's-Her-Name. However, Jim's heroics were constantly interrupted by a rogues gallery of bizarre villains, including the devious Cy-Crow, the villainous Queen Slug for a Butt, and the diabolical Professor Monkey for a Head. What set Earthworm Jim apart was its offbeat, self-aware humor. The show was filled with puns, slapstick comedy, and ridiculous dialogue that made fun of superhero tropes. The animation captured the frantic energy of the video game, bringing its chaotic and colorful world to life. Though it only lasted 2 seasons, Earthworm Jim remains a cult favorite, proving that even the strangest concepts can make for great cartoons. Mighty Max. Not every hero needed super strength, some just needed a magic hat and a whole lot of guts. Mighty Max was a rare gem of 90s animation, blending adventure, mythology, and surprisingly dark storytelling. The series followed Max, an ordinary kid who discovered he was the legendary Cap Bearer, chosen to battle the sinister Skullmaster. With his wise but mysterious mentor Virgil and his indestructible bodyguard Norman, Max traveled across dimensions, facing terrifying monsters and ancient evils. What set Mighty Max apart was its willingness to go darker than most kids' cartoons. The show didn't shy away from serious themes like destiny, sacrifice, and even death. The stakes always felt real. Villains weren't just defeated. Sometimes heroes didn't make it out alive. This intensity made Mighty Max stand out from other adventure cartoons, giving it a cult following among those who appreciated its depth. And then, of course, there were the toys. Based on the hugely popular Mighty Max playsets, miniature, horror-themed worlds packed with tiny figures, the show had a built-in fan base. But despite its innovation, Mighty Max struggled to compete with lighter, more marketable cartoons. Still, for those who watched, it remains one of the boldest and most underrated animated series of its time. 20 Things from the 1990s. Once necessary, now completely useless. The 90s were packed with iconic trends and gadgets we thought we'd never live without. But now, many of those must-haves are collecting dust. Want to know which 90s essentials are now totally useless? Let's take a trip down memory lane and discover 20 things that have faded into obsolescence. Beepers. In the 1990s, beepers, also known as pagers, were the go-to device for staying connected, especially for people who needed to be reachable at all times. Unlike today's smartphones with their endless features, pagers were simple gadgets. They didn't have screens for browsing or apps to download. Instead, they were designed for one basic function: to alert you that someone was trying to contact you. A pager would buzz or vibrate to let you know you had a message. Sometimes it was just a phone number you needed to call back. Other times, it might be a short text or a code to tell you where to find the person. When you got a page, it was time to find a phone, often a payphone on the corner, or a landline at home or work. In a way, it created a bit of a treasure hunt as you'd track down a phone to return the call. While it wasn't as convenient as having a cell phone in your pocket, it gave you the ability to stay in touch when you were away from a traditional phone. But as mobile technology advanced, cell phones quickly took over, offering not just messaging but full communication in the palm of your hand. Pagers began to fade into history, becoming a relic of an era before we were all connected 24/7 by the smartphones we carry around today. Handheld consoles. With their bulky design, tiny screens, and chunky buttons, they were far from sleek, but they brought gaming to places it had never gone before. The Game Boy's monochrome display may seem basic by today's standards, but it was revolutionary back then. It allowed people to take their games anywhere, on long trips, during commutes, or just while hanging out. Games like Tetris, Super Mario, and Pokémon became cultural icons, with Tetris's addictive simplicity and Pokémon's massive global influence. The Game Boy was more than just a console. It was a part of the 90s gaming boom. Portable CD Walkman. The portable CD Walkman was a must-have gadget in the 90s, offering a way to enjoy your favorite music on the go. Compact yet bulky, it had a disc tray that popped open, ready to play any CD you threw in. The Walkman's skip protection was a major innovation at the time, designed to minimize interruptions in your music as you moved around. But even with that feature, skipping tracks was still a common issue, especially if you jogged or walked too briskly. The sound quality was impressive for its era, offering clear, crisp audio that was a big step up from earlier portable music players. However, the Walkman had its downsides. It ate up AA batteries quickly, and carrying around a stack of CDs was cumbersome, making it less practical than modern solutions. Looking back, it's hard to imagine a time when hauling a Walkman and a few CDs around was considered cutting edge, but it was the pinnacle of portable music at the time. Original Sonicare toothbrushes. In the 1990s, the original Sonicare toothbrushes were marketed as a game-changer in oral hygiene. They introduced sonic vibrations, promising a deeper clean than traditional manual brushes. The idea of vibrating technology to remove plaque and promote healthier gums was revolutionary at the time, and it quickly gained attention as a cutting-edge product. However, these early models were bulky, expensive, and a bit tricky to handle, especially for those not used to the buzzing sensation in their mouths. Despite the excitement around their innovation, the first Sonicare toothbrushes were far from perfect. The large design and steep price tag made them less accessible for many, and the technology was still evolving. Today, as dental care technology has advanced, those original Sonicare models seem like outdated relics. Modern electric toothbrushes are smaller, more efficient, and much more affordable, making the bulky, expensive versions of the past feel like a distant memory. Karaoke machines. Karaoke machines in the 90s sparked a whole new era of living room pop stars. Equipped with wired microphones and a screen to display lyrics, these machines made it easy for anyone to grab the mic and belt out their favorite tunes. Whether at a party, family gathering, or just a fun night at home, karaoke brought people together for hours of entertainment. But as streaming platforms and smartphone apps became more popular, the classic karaoke machine began to fade. Now, with apps offering access to thousands of songs and lyrics on demand, it's easier than ever to have a karaoke session without bulky machines. Typewriter keyboards. These classic machines, with their sturdy keys and satisfying clicks, were essential for creating everything from letters to reports. Their design was simple yet reliable, but using them required a bit of effort, pressing each key with purpose, especially when writing long documents. There was something satisfying about the rhythm of typing away on a typewriter, despite the physical effort involved. Computers, laptops, and touchscreen devices have completely transformed how we write and work. The fast, effortless typing on modern keyboards is a far cry from the clunky, mechanical effort of typewriter keys. Did you ever own any of these items? Which one did you use the most? Tamagotchi. These tiny, pixelated virtual pets hung from keychains and demanded constant care, attention, and affection. With just a few buttons, you could feed, clean, and play with your digital pet to ensure its well-being. The catch? If you ignored it for too long, your Tamagotchi would get sick, or worse, die, which created a mix of fun and stress for users. Tamagotchis became a cultural phenomenon, with kids everywhere checking their pets at every moment, making sure they stayed healthy and happy. Their high-maintenance appeal was a big part of their charm, yet that same need for attention eventually became a little too much for some. Today, while Tamagotchis are no longer the must-have gadgets they once were, they remain a nostalgic relic of the 90s. Dial-up modems. The screeching, static-filled sound they made as they connected became a symbol of the online world opening up, even though it felt like it took forever. These modems worked by turning digital data into audio signals, which, at the time, was a revolutionary way to get online, though it often felt like navigating the web at a snail's pace. If you wanted to browse the internet, you had to sacrifice your phone line, meaning no one could make or receive calls while you were online. As slow as it was, dial-up was a game changer, letting people connect to the web, check emails, and explore the vast, unknown world of websites. But today, dial-up modems are nothing more than relics of the past, replaced by lightning-fast fiber and wireless connections that make those slow connections seem like a distant memory. Window air conditioning units. Before central air became the norm, window air conditioning units were a summertime essential. They were bulky, loud, and often seemed to rattle as they tried to cool down a room, but for many, they were a lifeline during hot summer days. The buzzing hum of the unit was a familiar soundtrack to the heat, and you could always count on it to bring some relief, even if it meant dealing with a noisy background hum. Window AC units were often installed in the window, taking up space and blocking part of the view, but they did the job, offering a cool escape from the sweltering heat. Today, central air and quieter portable units have mostly replaced them, offering more efficient and less intrusive cooling solutions. Keychain organizers. Compact and convenient, they offered a small yet efficient way to keep your keys, IDs, and other essentials neatly tucked away. With everything from key rings to tiny compartments, they were perfect for people on the go, helping keep things from getting lost in your bag or pockets. But as smartphones took over, the need for these tiny organizers faded. With the rise of digital wallets, contact apps, and keyless entry systems, smartphones quickly became the one-stop solution for managing our daily essentials. While keychain organizers were handy for carrying physical items, they couldn't keep up with the digital revolution. Portable CD players. Clunky and bulky, these devices allowed people to carry around their favorite albums on a compact disc, giving them the freedom to listen to music anywhere. It was a major step up from cassette tapes, offering clearer sound and a more reliable listening experience. If you had one of these, you were definitely on the cutting edge of music technology at the time. But today, portable CD players are pretty much obsolete. With the rise of streaming services and the all-in-one convenience of smartphones, the need for a physical music player has vanished. You can now access millions of songs instantly from your phone, making those old CD players feel like relics from a bygone era. While they had their moment, they've been replaced by the ease and speed of digital music. What was your absolute favorite 90s gadget that you wish was still around today? The original Game Boy, Nokia 3310, Sony Walkman, other. Please leave your answer in the comments below. Camcorders. In the 1990s, camcorders were the go-to devices for capturing family memories. These bulky gadgets were a big deal at the time, allowing people to record special moments like birthdays, vacations, and holidays. You'd pop in a tape, hit record, and try your best to steady the camera as you captured hours of shaky footage. Despite their size and weight, camcorders offered a level of convenience for home video that was revolutionary back then. With a phone in your pocket, you can now record high-quality videos with just a tap. No more lugging around heavy equipment or worrying about tapes. Smartphones do it all, making those old camcorders seem like relics of the past. Disposable cameras. In the 90s, disposable cameras were the go-to tool for capturing life's spontaneous moments. They were affordable, simple to use, and perfect for events like parties, vacations, or school trips. With a few quick clicks, you could snap pictures without worrying about film development. though you did have to wait a bit before you could see the results. It was a fun, hands-on experience, and the thrill of picking up your developed photos was part of the charm. But today, disposable cameras have been mostly replaced by smartphones. With just a tap, you can capture high-quality images and instantly view or share them with friends. The convenience and instant gratification of modern technology have made these single-use cameras feel like relics from a pre-digital era. Blockbuster membership cards. Blockbuster membership cards were once a golden ticket to movie night, offering access to a vast selection of VHS tapes and DVDs. With their iconic blue and yellow design, these cards were a symbol of weekend plans, where families and friends would head to their local Blockbuster to browse the aisles for the perfect film. The experience of picking out movies, checking out the new releases, and sometimes even getting caught in a late fee was part of the charm. But with the rise of digital streaming services, the ritual of browsing physical aisles became obsolete. Why leave the house when you could instantly stream movies on demand? Today, those Blockbuster cards are no longer needed and have become nostalgic souvenirs of a bygone era. Personal mixtapes. Personal mixtapes were a staple of 90s music culture, offering a way to share your favorite songs with friends or express your feelings through carefully curated tracks. You'd spend hours recording songs onto cassette tapes, painstakingly selecting each track to create the perfect soundtrack for a moment, relationship, or memory. These mixtapes became tangible, sentimental keepsakes that you could listen to over and over, rewinding to relive a favorite song or feeling. In a world dominated by digital playlists, mixtapes seem almost like a lost art. Today, streaming services let us easily create and share playlists with a few taps. But there's something special about the effort and personal touch that went into making a mixtape. It wasn't just about the music, it was about sharing a piece of yourself. If you could bring one of these 90s relics back, which would it be and why? Mini-discs. Mini-discs were the 90s attempt to revolutionize music storage, offering a compact digital alternative to cassettes and CDs. These small, transparent discs promised high-quality audio and the convenience of re-recording tracks, which was a huge selling point at the time. Their sleek design and the promise of portability made them seem like the future of music technology. However, mini-discs couldn't quite live up to their potential. While they were popular in Japan, they struggled to gain traction globally. As CDs continued to dominate and MP3s began to offer digital music without the need for physical discs, mini-discs quickly became obsolete. Despite their short-lived promise, they remain a nostalgic piece of 90s tech, a reminder of how the digital music landscape evolved so rapidly. Beeper watch. It was a small, discreet device that allowed you to receive messages and notifications on your wrist, giving it a futuristic feel at the time. It was especially popular with professionals and tech enthusiasts who wanted to stay connected without having to carry around a bulky pager. However, the beeper watch quickly became obsolete with the rise of smartphones. As these all-in-one devices became more affordable and widely available, they took over the functions of the pager, the watch, and much more. The beeper watch, once a symbol of cutting-edge tech, couldn't keep up with the smartphone revolution and faded into obscurity. Furby. Furby was the toy that captured the imagination of the late 90s, blending technology with a touch of whimsy. This robotic creature, with its wide eyes, twitching ears, and a fuzzy exterior, responded to touch, voice, and light, making it feel alive. It could even learn and mimic a few simple phrases, delighting and occasionally annoying owners with its interactions. The excitement around Furby was massive, and every household seemed to have one. However, once the craze died down, Furbies were often relegated to forgotten drawers, their batteries drained, and their novelty worn out. Yet, as the years passed, they've made a comeback as quirky collector's items. Today, Furbies are appreciated for their nostalgic charm and are seen as a reminder of a time when toys started to integrate technology in playful, unexpected ways. Dot matrix printers. Dot matrix printers were once the backbone of office printing. These machines had a unique dot printing style, where a print head moved back and forth, striking an inked ribbon to create text and images. They were especially useful for printing multi-part forms, like invoices or receipts, where you needed to create multiple copies at once. The sound of the printer, with its constant tapping of the print head, became a familiar office soundtrack. Despite their reliability and efficiency, dot matrix printers have been largely replaced by more advanced technologies like inkjet and laser printers. These newer models offer faster printing speeds, higher quality outputs, and quieter operation. As a result, dot matrix printers have mostly faded into the background, remembered fondly by those who use them. Palm Pilot. Compact and sleek, it fit right in your pocket and offered a digital address book, calendar, and note-taking functions, all controlled by a tiny stylus. It was a game-changer for anyone needing to stay organized on the go, replacing bulky paper planners and address books with a simple, electronic alternative. At the time, it felt like cutting-edge technology, allowing users to carry their essential information in a compact, efficient device. However, as smartphones evolved, they quickly absorbed and vastly expanded on the Palm Pilot's features, integrating apps, internet access, cameras, and much more, making the Palm Pilot seem almost laughably basic by today's standards. Bagged salad kits. They offered pre-washed lettuce, toppings, and dressings, all in one convenient package, saving time and effort for busy people looking for a quick, healthy option. These kits were a staple in grocery stores, providing a simple way to add greens to any meal without the hassle of washing and chopping. However, as people began to focus more on fresh, customizable ingredients and the growing concern over plastic waste, bagged salad kits started to lose their appeal. Consumers became more conscious of the environmental impact of single-use plastic packaging and shifted toward bulkier, less wasteful options. Today, while bagged salad kits are still available, they've largely fallen out of favor in favor of fresh produce and more eco-friendly alternatives, reflecting a shift in both dietary preferences and sustainability efforts. VHS tapes. VHS tapes were the go-to medium for home entertainment in the 80s and 90s. These bulky cassettes stored everything from blockbuster movies to TV shows, and renting or buying VHS tapes was a weekend ritual for many families. The thrill of getting a new release and popping it into the VCR for a night of movie magic was a staple of home life. But as the digital age took over, VHS quickly became obsolete. DVDs, Blu-rays, and eventually streaming services offered more convenience, better picture quality, and faster access to content. VHS tapes, with their tendency to degrade over time and the risk of tape jams, just couldn't keep up. Today, VHS is a relic of the past, often found gathering dust in basements or sold at thrift stores, but still holding a special place in the hearts of those who remember the pre-digital era of home viewing. Physical maps and atlases. Before the convenience of GPS and smartphones, physical maps and atlases were essential for navigating the world. Whether you were plotting a cross-country road trip or trying to find your way to a new location, unfolding a giant road map became a rite of passage. There was something satisfying about holding a paper map, tracing your route with your finger, and getting a tactile sense of the journey ahead. But with the advent of digital navigation on smartphones, physical maps have almost vanished. GPS systems now provide real-time updates, turn-by-turn directions, and traffic alerts, making paper maps a nostalgic relic of the past. Polaroid instant film. Polaroid instant film was once the ultimate way to capture memories in an instant. The bulky camera, with its satisfying click and the whirring sound of the flash, made each photo feel special. After snapping a picture, you'd wait eagerly as the photo slowly developed right before your eyes. An experience that was both magical and personal. It wasn't just about the image. It was the process, the excitement of watching your moments come to life. In the 80s and 90s, Polaroid cameras were the go-to for parties, vacations, and family gatherings. The instant gratification of holding a physical photo moments after taking it was a unique pleasure that digital photos couldn't replicate at the time. Today, while Polaroid is still around and instant film has found a niche market, it's more of a novelty than a necessity. With smartphones offering instant digital photos and editing tools, the once ubiquitous Polaroid has become a nostalgic reminder of a time when pictures weren't just digital. They were tangible memories captured in the blink of an eye. Beanie Babies. These plush toys, filled with pellets and complete with their own birth certificates, were marketed as both collectibles and potential investments. Each Beanie Baby had its own name, backstory, and unique design, which made them feel personal and special. With the promise of becoming valuable over time, collectors raced to grab rare editions, convinced they would one day be worth a fortune. For a while, Beanie Babies were everywhere, on shelves in stores, in homes, and even on the trading market. People hunted for limited editions and sought to complete their collections. However, as the craze faded, most of the toys didn't become the financial windfall many had hoped for. Instead, they became a nostalgic reminder of a time when collectible trends gripped the nation. Metal lunchboxes. Metal lunchboxes were the epitome of cool in the 90s, decorated with vibrant designs featuring everything from popular cartoons to rock bands. They were sturdy and built to last, carrying not just your lunch, but your personality. Carrying a metal lunchbox to school was almost a status symbol, a way to show off your favorite characters or interests. However, while these lunchboxes had the charm of durability, they lacked insulation, which made them impractical for keeping food at the right temperature. As insulated bags and plastic containers with built-in cooling compartments became more common, metal lunchboxes slowly faded into the background. Today, they live on as nostalgic pieces of childhood, evoking memories of simpler times. Although no longer a practical option for keeping lunch fresh, metal lunchboxes have become cherished collectibles, with many people holding on to theirs as a fond reminder of the past. Original Game Boy. With its chunky, brick-like design, it wasn't the sleekest device, but it packed a punch in the gaming world. Its monochrome screen, basic by today's standards, was revolutionary at the time. It gave players the ability to enjoy games like Tetris and Pokémon anywhere, whether on a long car ride or during school lunch breaks. These games became cultural icons, and the Game Boy itself became synonymous with handheld gaming. While the Game Boy felt cutting edge in the 90s, it's hard to imagine today. With the rise of smartphones, which offer powerful processors, vivid displays, and access to countless apps and games, handheld consoles like the Game Boy have become largely obsolete. Rollerblades. In the 90s, rollerblades were the ultimate expression of outdoor fun and freedom. Their sleek design and smooth wheels made them perfect for gliding through neighborhoods at high speed, offering a rush of adrenaline that was hard to beat. Whether you were cruising down the street or showing off tricks, rollerblades were everywhere. They quickly became a cultural staple, and the phrase "going rollerblading" was synonymous with a fun day out. However, as time passed and trends shifted, rollerblades slowly faded from the scene. Skateboards, scooters, and later more extreme sports took over as the go-to activity for thrill seekers. While they're not as popular today, Rollerblades remain a nostalgic symbol of 90s youth culture, an era where the streets were filled with kids speeding by, enjoying the wind in their hair. Cereal box toys. Cereal box toys were once a magical part of every breakfast. You'd pour your bowl of cereal, and there it was, hidden at the bottom of the box, waiting to be discovered. The thrill of finding tiny action figures, stickers, or other surprises was an exciting start to the day. Kids would eagerly dig through their cereal, hoping to find the latest collectible or limited edition prize, making breakfast feel like a treasure hunt. These toys weren't just fun, they were also a big marketing tool. Popular characters and themed promotions made them irresistible, creating a special bond between the product and the kids who ate it. Over time, though, these toys slowly disappeared as companies shifted their focus to digital promotions, offering incentives tied to apps or online games instead. Today, the cereal box toy is mostly a nostalgic memory, replaced by QR codes and digital content that no longer carries the same physical excitement or surprise. Soda can pull tabs. Soda can pull tabs were once the go-to method for cracking open a refreshing drink. The small metal tab would be pulled back, creating a satisfying pop as you opened the can. It was a simple, convenient design, but it had its flaws. Most notably, the sharp edge left behind once the tab was pulled off. It wasn't uncommon to find yourself with a cut finger, or worse, the tab itself could get lost and cause a mess. Despite these issues, the pull tab became a familiar part of soda cans for decades. But as concerns over safety grew, manufacturers began to phase them out in favor of the modern stay-on tab. These new tabs are more secure and safer, ensuring the tab stays attached and can't be discarded or cause harm. Did we miss one of your favorites? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, check out our other videos in this series, and don't forget to subscribe and share Who Remembers with a fellow 90s kid. Thanks for watching.